Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Today we're going to just check in with the collective. Not a twin flame reading, not a feminine or masculine, just to take the temperature of what's moving in the bubble. I'm still on a little beach vacation here, and you can hear kids in the background screaming at each other. And there's families everywhere. It's really sweet little community. I'm shuffling, by the way, this whole time, and we're getting things. All right, Spirit, thank you for being with us. Let's all take a deep breath and ground. What do we need to know right now? What does the collective need to know? What's moving on our path? What are the blocks showing up? And what are the solutions to those blocks, or anything else we need to know for the highest and best good of self and the planet? Whoa, anything else, Spirit? Anything else? Thank you so much. Jeez, avalanche, hold on. Bear with me. Okay, we actually have two separate messages. All right, so first we received share your gifts. Sorry, I'm trying to make do with what we have here. We have dreams, which I don't know about you, but the last 3 days, actually 4 days, I've been having insane dreams. Just very dense, very archetypal. And then we have create your reality here. Okay, second tier message. We have patience, tree of life, and also abundance. In this deck, this tree of life is surrounded by rabbits, and when you think about rabbits, they multiply pretty quickly. So there's something here about oh, look, I didn't even see this card yet. It's the abundance card. Let me put this in narrative order, and then we will be off to the races. Okay, collective, you are meant to share your gifts with the world, but in order to do that, you have to dial in on what you're good at, but not just that. It's not just about stepping into mastery of your gifts, even though that's the path that we're all sort of on. Whether you're aware of it or not, whatever you're meant to share in this life as your gift, and maybe it's not one specific thing, of course. Hold on, I'm losing my thread. Bear with me. I feel a little wonky because of my dreams. It's funny, I had a friend staying with me and she felt the same way. We felt like drowsy because we weren't fully leaving the realm of sleep. You know, we were sort of had one foot in two worlds, and that could be pretty disorienting if you don't know how to work with your dreams. Okay, I had to have a sip of my cacao. Oh, thank you, Spirit. So it's not just about stepping into mastery of your gifts, collective. It's also taking responsibility for noticing and becoming aware of how your gifts thrives. Meaning, what container do you have to create to give your gifts the best head start? It's interesting. I sort of, the building that I had my office in, they needed my office, long story short, and I had to get rid of my office. And I was still having clients, so I'm like, oh, all right, we got to pivot. What are we doing? And so because I knew the client, I had them in my home, and I was a little apprehensive, just like, what would that feel like to kind of do what I do in my home? And can I tell you, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I had all of my tools with me. I had the comfort of the space to act as another level of comfort for the client. I had, the coziness factor. I had all of my oracle decks in one place. I had all of my shamanic tools in one place. I had all of my literature, all of my books that sometimes I reference with clients, and they were on my bookshelf. I could pull one off and show it to them if they wanted to, browse through it. I just was like, wow, I am feeling very at home, so to speak. And I think my client felt the same way, and we were able to go deeper and further. We ended up, so I don't know if you ever want to work with me, I have a million different ways to work together. But one of my favorite ways I'm discovering, and by the way, I'm not just sharing this for shits and giggles, this is important along with this message of fine-tuning what your gifts are. Do you hear how slow and crazy my brain is today? I'm already forgetting what I'm saying. Bear with me. Oh, if you ever want to work with me, I won't be this absent-minded, I promise. Well, I can't promise anything. I do sessions where I keep a 3-hour window, and what time we use is the time we use. My sessions, I have found the nature of the work that I do. I can't just say, oh yeah, come and buy a 60-minute sessions. With Oracle readings, that does work. So I do have all different sort of Oracle offerings that are pre-recorded, meaning you fill out a form, I do your reading just like I do these readings, and then I email it to you. And that seems to work very well. However, when it comes to the physical body, we are at the mercy of the physical body. And I notice being in bodies in space with someone, not just like virtually on Zoom or something or on a video call, I could work with the body. I mean, I could work with energetics over distance, absolutely, but there's just nothing like being in person. It's just pretty profound, the work that the distance we can travel together. We really are able to move the needle. And so long story short, we ended up having a 2.5-hour session. They didn't plan it. I didn't plan it. It was just what wanted to move in that space. And and then, it felt like a fair compensation for whatever the time, we used. So collective, you are being asked, and maybe, okay, let me just speak to the collective that has no clue what your gifts are. Just try to tune in to where you feel like you're thriving, where you feel like it's easy. Sorry, hold on. I'm getting a whole separate message, but I'm not done with this message, Spirit. Yeah, for the collective that just has no clue yet, pay attention to what makes you lose track of time. What do you love to do where all of a sudden you look at the clock and 3 hours passed or 5 hours or whatever? In this day and age, you can really monetize anything. Like if you love throwing your friends' parties, if you love, creating cute little baked goods or hors d'oeuvres, or if you like creating your own little books made out of, shopping bags, like there is a niche for everything, or you can create it. That's the wild thing about the planet today. If it brings you such profound joy, I'm getting teary-eyed because it doesn't matter what it is. If it brings you such profound joy, you are meant to give this gift away. You are meant to share this joy. That's what we're doing on this path. Whether you follow or believe in twin flame stuff or not, none of it matters. What matters is that we're all walking this path of deeper self-awareness, I'm sorry, my voice, I'm still so emotional. Hold on. We're all meant to cultivate and excavate our unique pathway to get to our core frequency. It doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't matter what you do. But when I do Oracle readings, I come alive. I could talk for hours. There's always another angle to explore. There's always another message. There's always something that brings me back to oneness, that moves me deeply. You've heard me cry so much on this channel, and I don't care. It's because you might be feeling one thing by witnessing me cry, and whatever your experience is, that is fine, sacred, and beautiful to you. But for me, to touch oneness, even a shadow of it, even a fraction of it, reminds me why I'm here. It cracks my heart open. It allows for intimacy to arrive. It allows for vulnerable, humble connection with the world around me, with people. And it just ignites my soul fire. And so what is that for you? And if you don't have that yet, you get to start being curious. You get to start watching the one who watches, watching the part of you that is out in the world, witnessing and perceiving the world around you. And if there's something you've always wanted to do, like I have a friend that's been always drawn to improv, but too scared to do it. And that's just their thing. That's their thing. And that's their work of like, okay, well, what do you need to get a little bit more brave today? And maybe go look at the program. Maybe not sign up, but maybe you're just going to look at the program. Maybe you're going to look at the dates and see if it works with your schedule. Maybe you're going to, see if you can afford the cost. Maybe you're going to see if you know anyone in the group, or if you have any contacts who are already doing the program. It's just like getting a little, inching your way closer to that which you desire. And okay, now I'm totally on a soapbox and I don't even care, but there was a book and a phrase that really annoyed me, that was really popular in a lot of this work. And it was like, feel the fear and do it anyway. Now that is lovely, and I think is fine for most people. Sorry, the breeze is knocking over all my cards. Whatever, we'll fix it later. Feel the fear and do it anyway. It's a very unkind statement, especially if you have deep trauma in your nervous system, or if your just nervous system has been on overload for years and years and years. There are ways to move at the speed of love, which is my phrase that I've written a paper about it. I did my culminating project, which is like a thesis on it. It's been my North Star for a very long time. The speed of love is any speed, any pace in which you can bring truth and love with you at the same time. If you can't bring both of those together at the same time, you're either moving too fast or too slow. And oftentimes people move too fast without either bringing all of their truth with them or all of their love with them. And you've heard me say this a million times before, we never want to abandon or betray a part of self. And the only way to do that sustainably, collective, is to move at a pace where we can discern that. And to be able to discern that, we have to move as slow as our intuition comes forward. Now, if you're in the early days of, working with your intuition, you might need a lot of space. You might need a month or a year or something. If you're a little bit more, in tune with your body, because your body tells you your yes or your no before it reaches your mind, before it reaches your, logical, rational part of your brain that puts together thoughts and ideas. And somewhere between your body and your brain, usually that message gets a little either diluted or polluted. It's funny, I've never said this in this way, but it really makes a lot of sense. So for instance, your body, if someone invites you somewhere, your gut you will know if you want to go or not almost instantly. And some of you will just be like, oh, yep, it's a no, thank you. Thank you for the offer. It's a no for me. Other people will be like, oh, say it's a really high up CEO in your company and they personally asked you for a lunch. You might be like, wow, this is not a hell yes for me. This is a no, but your brain might be like, oh, it might be good for my career. Maybe I should go. Maybe I should do this. Da, 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 da. And all of a sudden you're kind of sort of compromising what your body was initially telling you. And I'm not saying that, whatever the body says goes. Whatever the body says goes is your start perception. And then it's worthy to reflect. It's worthy to sit with it, to try to see okay, well, is my fear self-sabotaging me here? Or is there a greater, deeper, red flag that I'm really not seeing here? This happens a lot with women, unfortunately, when like higher ups want to meet with them one-on-one and there's like a creepy, sketchy vibe. It's like, yeah, you're now putting themselves, it's like we want to do our best not to put ourselves in those situations, but someone externally to you might already be crossing a professional boundary or an appropriate boundary or whatever. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to give you that whole rant, but it's probably the beach vacation. I'm very chill and very slow, so bear with me. Okay, let's get back to this wonderful reading. Share your gifts, dreams, create your reality. Yes, only you can, for you to take another step to create whatever this reality is, you have to first be aware of it. So for some of you, there's going to be a missing piece of the pie that is going to come to you in dream space. I'm telling you, the last 3 or 4 nights, my dreams have been insane, ups and downs. I had my first nightmare that I've had in years, and it was about people who are very dear to me, and it was very like jarring, and I woke up like hysterically crying, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? But there are pieces in that. A lot of times in dreams, whether you work with Jungian or shamanic dream work or whatever body of thought you approach dream work through, there's always like an archetypal meaning. There's always a symbolic meaning. Some bodies of thought believe that every character in your dream is actually a part of self, a version of self that is expressing itself through your sleeping consciousness. I'm trying to think of some other big ones. Like, there's big symbolic things like, I don't know which body of thought thinks this, but if there's like, if you're dreaming of a house and there's a locked room in a house, a lot of times that locked room symbolizes an unexplored part of your psyche or your life or something. Huge bodies of water, if you're like in the middle of an ocean and it's wide, whatever, can symbolize your like fear of your emotional landscape or something. Please don't take me verbatim on these things. Please look them up and pursue them in your own right. But I've taken little pieces that resonate with me from all different bodies of thought, and here's the thing that we're doing. We're all listening for resonance. We're all feeling, intuiting for resonance, and we're feeling what is resonant for us. Not like, oh, what is popular and what is everyone reading and thinking and doing and then believing it. No, we're literally tasting the world around us to feel into what feels like a clean vibration in our system. What feels if you've ever done this inner work and you're working with someone, either a coach, a therapist, a dream worker, a healer, energy worker, whatever, and someone says that little nugget of truth that freaking illuminates your entire life, and you're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense, and you have this like micro awakening moment, that's resonance. That's 100% resonance. It's an idea that was neutral, but because it rang so true in your body, mind, spirit, it is true for you. And there is something worth exploring in that resonance for your unique, for your unique story. Okay, so what's cool about the second layer here is that it's almost like a prescription on how to share your gifts. Deploy patience, focus, and your abundance will come. That's very direct, obvious message. But I love this card in this deck because it's so, this is like purifying your third eye. This is like, it was really trendy, maybe like 8 years ago. Everyone was talking about the pineal gland. Wait, I don't want to be one of those people that, speaks to like the global trends. I'm just going to speak to what I observed. Everyone was talking about the pineal gland, and it was written off as like this spiritual mumbo jumbo. And I noticed that now the people that are talking about the pineal gland are from tech communities, from science clinical communities, and I find it to be so interesting. I watched this thing about purifying the pineal gland and how there's 4 ways to it, that this doctor studied like what sabotages the pineal gland the most, and it was like glyphosate, fluoride, heavy metals, and I can't remember the 4th one. And I found that to be so interesting because this isn't new knowledge. This isn't new knowledge at all. Yeah, we've known glyphosate. That's the stuff I think in like Roundup that was banned in so many other countries, but somehow in the US it is still on the shelves, and it's in food and it's in additives and all these different things. And so, it's really cool as someone who works with collective energies to watch, micro information get to the masses. It's a very cool thing. It gives me hope in this time of chaos. It really kind of anchors. He also talked about structured water. There's a lot of fluoride in the water. I got a filter that actually filters out fluoride and a million other things. But then that's what you're taking out when you get pure water. And I'm not an expert on this, but my friends I have a lot of friends that tell me all these things. When you drink water from a natural spring, it is structured in a way that is perfect for our body and our cells to absorb it. And a lot of the water that comes out of the tap, not only does it have a million chemicals in it, but it's destructured. And so there's these different, not only distiller machines, but there's also machines that structure water. There's all these different things. It's a matter of which rabbit hole do you want to go down. Don't overwhelm yourself with this stuff. But again, it doesn't matter what you're doing, if you're doing this rabbit hole conspiracy stuff, or if you are, looking for a job. What matters is that you are fine-tuning your body instrument, your body-mind instrument, so that you can make appropriate discernments for you, your mission, your purpose, your life. That's all I care about. I care about your own sovereignty. There's so much information out there, and we do the best we can. And again, listen to your logical nervous system. I don't care if it's a big topic like vaccines, or if it's a small topic like, I don't want to wear that color today or something, or, it's up to you to really tap into what your body mind is telling you. Okay. That's my rant. I can't believe I've talked for 23 minutes. Let's see, Spirit, is there anything else? I feel like you guys are just on vacation with me. Drinking cacao, hanging out by the water. Oh, thank you, Spirit. Another reason I love this card is because it's almost like the global eye is awakening. The global eyesight is clearing. My mentor, Carolyn Mace, she has this new program out, and I'm not promoting it. I don't even know what it is, but because I'm addicted to her and I love her so much, all my social media algorithms keep showing me this program, and I keep watching these videos of her promoting it. And there's this one excerpt where she says, "We are dematerializing." And every time I hear that, it's just so true. I think I said this in one of my videos yesterday or something, but we are finally getting to a point on the planet where we are becoming more energy than matter. And that's the correct order of operations. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. Anything that shows up in 3D once started in 5D, or anything that shows up in the tangible physical world of matter started as an idea, started as a bundle of synapses firing. And then all of a sudden, okay, we have an idea. We put the idea to paper. We put that paper to building. We put that building to function. We use that function to create this thing we wanted to do. It's this really sacred, transformational, alchemical journey, and we don't think of it like that. So I take a lot of solace in that she's saying we are quite literally dematerializing. We are becoming less material, more energy, or at least our awareness is, which is the important part, because that's the part that is the portal to divine wisdom. That's the whole point. That's what we're doing. I really hope that my readings and the way I casually talk about these really big topics make them more palatable for everyone, make them less scary, because they are really overwhelming. And if you're trying to do this work and dive into like personal narrative stuff, it's a lot. It's a lot, but we do this work together. You're never doing this work alone. You also have to remember that we breathe as one. So the work that you do for self feeds the collective, and the work the collective does feeds the self. It's this sacred symbiotic, what is one is in the all. These cards are never going to stay. I'm not going to even try. Okay, let me just see what's in the unconscious. Oh, make a wish. That makes me so happy. But it is in the shadow position. So there's some of you that don't believe that you have a co-partnership with the divine. There's some of you that just don't believe that you can ask for what you want. The universe is not on a budget. Ask for more. Ask for whatever you want and just see how the universe rises up to meet you. Test it. This is what I'm saying. Don't take my word for it. You're being called to write your own holy book filled with your own mystical truths. That's how I got here. I was in pain and suffering. I had a lot of mystical trauma. I turned to the mystics because I didn't know of anyone in real life that was in, when I say real life, I mean in my timeline. Like a lot of the mystics I was studying have long died, some hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But I turned to studying the mystics because I didn't know anyone in my lifetime that was talking about suffering in a useful way, in a functional way. And I knew my suffering was functional. It felt bigger than my own personal narrative. And so I had to turn to the mystics. A lot of them were Christian mystics, but not all of them. Padre Pio and Teresa of Avila and St. John of the Cross and Meister Eckhart. Who else? And then just like the poetry of Sacred Rumi and, all these amazing people that have just sat present with their, they've kneeled at the feet of their own suffering and dared to learn. I'm getting emotional because sometimes that's all you can do. You can hire all the people you want. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask for help. There are incredible people. I'm one of them. I'll toot my own horn. I think some of my greatest gifts are sitting with people when they are specifically in that mystical suffering, what St. John of the Cross called the dark night of the soul. It's so funny. That phrase always annoys me because it's not a dark night of the soul. It's a dark night of the human. The soul is fighting to get through. The soul is fighting to awaken the human to the truth of the light of the soul, the love, this infinite oneness that is like penetrating us from the inside out. And it's cracking the human open because the human is so limited. The human, has picked up a narrative of limitations in this 3D life. And it's part of this path of enlightenment, part of this illumination path is quite literally to be illuminated is to become light, to become lighter, to be able to hold these profound, massive truths. Do I get more? Do I keep talking? It's 30 minutes of me talking without pulling more cards. But that's okay. Let's get one of these. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else for this beloved community? Thank you. I just talked about illumination. We have Pillar of Light. Thank you, Spirit. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Here's the thing about being an oracle. Yes, I think I do have some gifts that are unique to me. However, everyone who comes into mastery over their own intuition is some version of an oracle for themselves, right? Maybe you can't tap into the collective frequencies, but maybe you could tap into your own frequencies. That's where it starts. So wherever you are on your path, you are a sacred vessel to hold this light, to hold this level of truth and love, to hold this level of fire, right? Because another version of light is the flame, is burning fire. And sometimes, most of the time, us being pillars of light calls us to burn shit down to the ground, metaphorically speaking. No one go burn anything, but part of this illumination path is that we become illuminated to things that no longer serve the collective, or to things that are in opposition to the sacred. And we're allowed to be angry about that. We should be angry about that. If someone or something is not right, is doing something that is not right, is harming the sacred, is harming life, it's our job to embody that flavor of light, the flame, the holy sacred flame, and wield that power in a way that is of the highest and best possible good. And then we have this unbound card, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. What's really interesting about this reading is my throat keeps clearing. And thank you, Spirit. This is just a divine thing. I think I just needed to talk today. My throat is clear. I feel calm. I feel peaceful. Do you? What's blocking you? You're releasing soul patterns right now, any sort of contracts, any sort of stuff from past lives. I believe, and this isn't coming from Spirit, this is coming from Karen. I like to make that distinction, but I believe that we have reached a critical mass of healing on the planet where the scales are tipping, where we're actually having the courage and confidence to stand up for ourselves, to stand up for others, to stand up for ideas and mission and passion and healing. It's one thing to become an amazing healer. We all have our unique gifts, but I can't stop thinking about this Desmond Tutu quote where he says, at some point you have to stop pulling people out of the river and go upstream to see why people are falling in the river in the first place. And I think we're at that very interesting place in the world and in the narrative of humanity, where it's not enough that we just keep putting Band-Aids on all of our wounds. We have to zoom out and figure out, well, what the heck? The system doesn't support us. It's harming me, and I keep having to spend my money or spend my time and resources in fixing XYZ instead of fixing the infrastructure that caused the thing, So this is really, really beautiful. I just have to share because I don't gatekeep anything, but in the unconscious position here, in the shadow position, we have leap. You go first, the universe will catch you. This is very much in alignment with this Make-A-Wish card. It's in alignment where there's a big collective, there's a big part of the collective that doesn't believe they will be supported. That's on you. If that's what you believe, that's where you start. That's your work. So if it's too scary to do the big leap, like, listen, I wanted to leave my clinical job 6 years before I did. 6 years is a very long time. I was there for 15, just so everyone gets the timeline here. That's not a small chunk of my life. That's a huge chunk of my life. At the time, it was about, I think, half my life. No, it was more than half my life. I'm sorry, my math is terrible right now. But I couldn't leap off the cliff when I got the intuition to do so. I had to do enough work on myself. I had to have certain experiences. I had to steep in that suffering long enough to learn what I needed to learn to build up enough rocket fuel to launch me off of the cliff, to launch me out of that decision. And when I was ready to launch, you better believe I did everything all at once. I'm not recommending you do this. I'm just telling you my experience. But I sold or gave away a lot of my belongings. I sold my house and I quit my job. And I did all these things within like 2 to 3 weeks. It was very intense. I don't recommend it. I went through, my body kind of shut down as well. It was traumatic, but also who am I to judge like that was wrong, I think it was the best move I could have ever done. It gave me enough space and time to heal from the pace in which the world was moving. I don't fit the pace of the world. I fit that's a big statement. I have perceived that I did not fit. I tried to move at the speed of the world. And for me, that was not at the speed of love. My speed, when I tried to match the world, I betrayed and abandoned myself and parts of myself for years, for probably decades, if I'm being honest. And so I had to remove myself. Not everyone can do this. Not everyone should do this. But I had to remove myself so that I could discover what's my natural rhythm. How do my gifts thrive? What are the circumstances that I need to work on and work towards to create the best viable environment for me to thrive? And that's creating a lot of time for space and contemplation and reflection. It's how I synthesize things. It's how I alchemize things for the collective. You have to remember that these readings on YouTube are like a very minute fraction of the work that I do in the world. And I love them and I love being with you guys. And I think I'll probably do this forever because it keeps me grounded. It helps me connect with Source in the morning. It's just like a really beautiful rhythm, and it not only keeps me accountable to the collective, but it keeps me abreast on what the heck is going on. I'm a human like everyone else, and you get sucked into the day-to-day world, and sometimes I get sucked into the fast pace of things and I betray and abandon parts of myself, but then I pedal backward and say, no, this is not me. This is not what I want to do. Where's my sovereignty? And I call my spirit back from places it doesn't belong. I get back up after I've fallen down, and then I fall down again and get back up again. This is just the nature of the work. And what's changed for me, I think people ask, when you're seeking a mentor, I think a lot of people want that mentor to be perfect, or they put them on a pedestal of some archetypal projection that they think someone can be. But a lot of my mentors are just people that can be authentic, humble, and honest about their struggles and embody a certain level of grace and peace with their own shortcomings or their own pain points. And after all these years, I think I'm delightfully surprised that I've sort of become that person. James Finley had this thing he always used to say, that in medieval times they had this concept of co-naturality, meaning you know what you know by virtue of being what you know. You don't need another certification or another degree to tell you what you know. You become the billboard. You become your own resume of where you've been and the knowledge you've collected. And you become, the proof is in the pudding. You are where you've been. So to me, when I'm choosing people to work with professionally, that's my measuring stick of like, would I want to be this person? Is there something about them that I look up to, that I don't have in myself, that I want to work towards? When we work with people or even become friends with or invite people into our lives in some capacity that are for shallow reasons, because like we think they have more money than us, we think they're cooler than us and it'll make us cooler, or, that's a really ridiculous example, but you know what I'm saying? Like, or we think, oh, they have a better network than I do. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but just make sure that you're not giving your power away to that idea, to this person. Because when we put people, places, or things so high on a pedestal, we tend to put ourselves below it, right? We tend to other ourselves. And let me tell you, let me just give you a heads up. When you put yourself below someone, you're more susceptible to crossing your own boundaries because you think, oh, they know better than I do, so they must know what's right for me. If my work could do anything, I would hope that it would invite you back to your own sovereignty and your own heart. I hope to instill in you that it doesn't matter if anyone knows more than you. No one knows more than you about yourself. And that's the important difference. So I hope this, this is like beach talks with Karen. I wonder, would a podcast be really annoying? You could tell me. It's fine. Some of you, I know, don't listen to my long readings. Some of you have told me you don't listen, and I sort of love that. I love that I've created a warm, cozy environment where people just feel free to tell me their absolute truth. And I love it because I wouldn't want it any other way. Of course, everyone has been so wonderful and respectful, and there's a lot of not so respectful people on the internet. So I'm really grateful for all of you. And do we want to get anything else, Spirit? Okay, let's just see what's holding back the collective. I just want to see if we can get a core message. Is there a core message, Spirit? What is holding back the collective? Thank you. Spirituality, psychic energy, another nod to our gifts and fame. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. This can go two ways here. Some of you are hyper fixated on becoming famous or what fame entails. Maybe you think you'll make a lot of money if you're famous, or you'll get the notoriety or the whatever. I'm just going to ask you to call your spirit back from places it doesn't belong and make sure that you are taking a step forward for the right reasons. For instance, if you are just doing something for the money, it's not going to be sustainable. Listen, I did something for the money for many, many years, and it sucked my soul dry. Like, let's just be dramatic and honest about it. It was brutal, and you need something else driving you. You need a mission, a purpose. You need some sort of soul fulfillment, because whatever you're pursuing will be difficult. It will be hard. You will find moments of hardship. And it's that sort of third thing, that third driver, that is going to help you bridge those difficult moments. So, like when I started my YouTube channel, it was for me to practice my oracle. It was for me to practice, speaking from a place of intuition. It was very difficult in the beginning. It was very wobbly and wonky. And you know what it revealed to me? Oh my God. It revealed to me where I didn't trust my intuition. Like in the beginning, if you go back to, I have never deleted a reading, just so you know. Actually, that's not true. I deleted one by accident, but that was my human error. If you go back to my first readings, I used to pull the cards first. I would pull a whole spread off camera and then talk about it. And I felt like in the beginning that was so I could give myself more space to synthesize the message instead of doing it live on camera. And then slowly but surely, you guys requested that, or a few of you requested that I pull cards on camera. And what a divine intervention that was, because it got me more comfortable sharing from a place of presence with my intuition, to honor what came through my body, mind, spirit, to get comfortable, reacting to the information at the same time you were reacting to the information. It was like this live event that I had to learn to love myself through. I had to learn to love myself crying on camera and getting vulnerable and sharing wholly and deeply and completely. And that was a really beautiful thing. So yeah, when I started my YouTube channel, it was sort of more of a, like, let me create a portfolio of all my readings so that prospective clients could see what a reading is like before they purchase. And it's sort of given me all these other unexpected gifts. So it was kind of a cool thing. So this other message here, we have spirituality and psychic energy. I mean, let me see what's in the unconscious. We have courage and transformation. Oh, goodness. And I didn't even mention it earlier, but this create your reality card. Whoops, a daisy. This create your reality card is a dragonfly. It's a symbol of transformation. Yeah, I mean, this is another... Let me just ask you directly, what do you need? What would support you in not leaping off the cliff, but taking a step towards that? You don't have to abandon or betray your nervous system. If you're not ready, you're not ready. So don't force yourself into situations. In the early days of my transformational work, when I was going to 1 million retreats and doing all the trainings and getting all the certifications and blah, 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 I was so deeply in my suffering that I gave my power away to who I thought knew more than I did, to who I thought knew better than I did for myself. And in that process, I ended up crossing my boundaries multiple times and creating more trauma in my nervous system that I then had to heal. So my naive, sacred self, went to these people, places, and things for healing. And because I didn't have enough self-esteem to honor my intuition, I couldn't even hear my intuition back then, let alone honor it and then take action based off of it. I couldn't hear it. So I outsourced my intuition to people, places, and things that didn't know me, didn't know my story, didn't have my best interest. And I ended up creating more trauma for myself. And so I just want to stress this. You don't have to leap off a cliff until you're ready. But when you're ready, let me tell you, you will have dotted your I's and crossed your T's, and just be prepared that when you are ready and you've done all this work, it's going to happen really fast. All of these moving pieces are going to happen really, really fast, and you're going to be ready for it. So it's okay. All right, let me just get one affirmation card. I'm not even going to look. I'm not going to shuffle. Oh my God, my intuition is the perfect guide. It's always perfect. Thank you, Spirit. Collective, trust your gut. There is nothing more reliable than your natural instincts and intuition. Open your third eye and allow it to lead you through your day and in decision making. You are being divinely guided. I mean, come on. Spirit, thank you for being so precise and accurate. Thank you for being with us. I'm sorry. No, you know what? I'm not going to apologize. This is just what wanted to come through today. It was a very, morning beach breakfast talks with Karen. It felt very much like that. I hope it was supportive. And you know what? If you've made it this far in the reading, what I want to ask you or ask of you, if there is a topic you have, if there's a question you have, please ask it. I could do a reading on that specific thing. I was toying about doing live readings, but we have a small group here. My channel isn't that big, and I don't know if that would be the best way to serve all of you, but I'm sending you all so much love, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm a real person. On my website, actually on the About section of my YouTube channel, there's ways to contact me. It literally says contact me. There's all different ways to contact me on my website, KarenVitello.com. If you're a texter, there's ways to text me on Telegram or Signal. If you could text me also on the phone number that's there, email me. I am available because I support people doing this very niche work. We need each other, and I look forward to connecting. All right, much love to you. I will see you in the next one.